beautiful song on the radio. Listen. There you go. That's all you're going to get. I'm going to talk over it. Bonjour mon ami. Bonjour tout le monde. Je m'appelle Joey John Maguire. Dans le bar de commerce Luxbar, dans Bertiac, which is in Dordogne, la France. I'm about to recite one of my latest poems, playing catch-up. I have 3 to do this morning. And this one's called Tommy Come Home, which is quite fitting because we're coming up to the 11th of the 11th, which is only next month, just before I go back to UK, and it's Remembrance Day. And they do it in France as well, you know. Barflies. Right, the poem's called Tommy Come Home. You can say what you like. Make judgments if you want. But there were different times, man, where young'uns, so-called men, but only last week they were boys, were packed off to war, some of them, and by that I mean a lot of them, never did return. Few had the courage to resist. Those who did were called conscientious objectors. And then there were those that went, me personal preference in naming them as cannon fodder. And off they went, as I remember. Heads... Okay, mate, ciao. Heads held high and singing, not brave enough to say no, and yet brave enough to die. Conscripts, every one of them, and keen. You might say obliged volunteers. In the old days, they got them pissed and coshed them on the head. But they'd found a better way, much more acceptable. They were simply brainwashed and fucked up in their heads. For some people, it turned out to be the best time of their lives, something they'd have to hold on to and reminisce as they grew old. But for others, take for instance the little nippers, for them the heartbreak of separation, the austerity of the war, enough to rob them of their innocent little souls. At least they escaped the bombs and the pungent smell of death. They had a habit of leaving, and lucky that they were simple souls, some barely educated, could hardly write their names, but good at heart, and they would fight because simple souls know no better. Those left behind worked the fields, made munitions demanded by the war, or did other things. Those conscientious objectors, either imprisoned or subsequently shot by the firing squad, referred to as cowards. Best thing for them was what was said at the time, but things were different then, weren't they? On the plus side, the best thing of all, the camaraderie and making do, the shared rations, grown in back gardens and allotments, or stolen. Shh, the black market was rife, and the songs that were sung up and down the land, in pubs and clubs and homes, Gracie feels how she lifted their failing hearts. Christmas saw the best in them, but also so did death. At every lost soldier's funeral, someone's lost a son or a brother or a sister, a father or a mother along with their heart. The gifts given, all homemade and gifted from their hearts. Simple offerings that brought uncontrolled tears from all those at the table, and everybody that was there having their own specific tale, their own specific joy or loss or both, because those were the days and they were so hard to forget. Sorry, I almost forgot to mention Mother, who without ever shedding a tear would eke out a chicken between it, with a portion kept aside for our dear Tommy, just in case he did come home, but was running late. Joey Joe Maguire.